Marky here. So this is a video about retroactive jealousy, because most of our videos aren't about retroactive jealousy, which is odd because we're a retroactive jealousy channel. But there we go. We won't go into that in this video. I've talked about that in other ones on many occasions. I want to talk about a particular channel that I think will be helpful to people with retroactive jealousy. But I also want to make a more general point. But first of all, I apologise for the jazzy screen. I'm pointing my camera at my computer screen because I'm low tech. This is a neurodivergent channel. It's all meat and no potatoes. I like potatoes actually. It's all filling and no bread. No, you know what I mean. There's no style, but it's all substance. That's better, isn't it? Let's try and steer away from dodgy metaphors. Okay, so why am I recommending this channel to you? Well, if you are suffering from retroactive jealousy, you need to be looking at the right things. You can certainly make it worse by looking at the wrong things, but you need to be regularly looking at recovery material, and there's plenty of it. We've got plenty of it. We've got now nearly 200 videos on this channel on recovery from retroactive jealousy, and we've got a whole program as well, a daily program for 35 days. We produced it during the first COVID lockdown to give something, for people to focus on, but it's still online, and just because it's not a COVID lockdown doesn't mean it's not as relevant. It's just as relevant. It gives you something to do every day for 35 days to focus on your recovery, because recovery is an active process. People think they're just going to get better. Some people think they're just going to get better by moaning, but that doesn't work. In fact, if you keep talking about your RJ triggers, then you're just going to reinforce them and just make everything much, much worse. So get a recovery mindset and get a recovery program. You can use our recovery program. There's other recovery programs out there. Get a good one and do it daily and give it 110%. So I always say with psychological problems, they're different to physical, so mental health problems different to physical health problems in the terms of if you break your leg, you don't need to bone up. There's a pun there. I didn't even intend it. Bone up on what's the specialism with? Is it orthotics? You don't need to bone up on medical practices, medical treatments for fractures. Okay, you just kind of get yourself one way or another to an emergency department, and hopefully if you're in a country where the free healthcare, emergency healthcare is available, and you say, I think I've broken my leg, please help, and they'll take care of it for you, and they'll give you the advice, the aftercare advice that hopefully you need, and Bob's your uncle. But if you've got a psychological problem, you do need to become something of an expert in it. So you need to do some research, learn about it. Now, for a long time, I've been looking for good OCD channels on YouTube. YouTube is my go-to for everything. I mean, there's loads of brilliant stuff that's not on YouTube, but I just find it easier to do everything through YouTube. So, and if I can't find a video on YouTube on a topic that, that's useful to recommend to people, then generally speaking, I make one. So Chrissie Hodges. So she's not a clinician, but she is a certified peer supporter, and she has got lived experience with OCD. She still seems to be struggling with it, and I'm not going to make a judgment on that. But she, in terms of the theoretical stuff, she knows her onions. That's a good old expression, isn't it? I bet you don't even know. I haven't heard that before, have you, you young whippersnappers? So to know your onions means you know your stuff. Don't ask me where that came from. Presumably from gardeners, garden experts that know their onions. But she covers some really interesting and useful stuff. So let's have a little look at her channel. So there you can see name of the channel there, and I'll put a link to it in the description as well. If it's not there straight away, don't get on my case. I don't always do it immediately. So if it's not there when you look, just look again in a day or so and it should be there. Let's have a look at her videos. give you a flavour. So you might have other channels on OCD or other resources on OCD that you can recommend, in which case please put them in the comments. So I think it's important when you're suffering from retroactive jealousy to not just look at retroactive jealousy resources, but look at OCD resources in general. It's also quite good to give you a sense of perspective, because what happens is people get hung up on the theme of OCD. So all the stuff about, you know, what she did or what he did and who he did it with, and where they did it and all that stuff, that's just the theme of your OCD. That doesn't matter. It's just bollocks. You can have OCD about almost anything. Okay, they're all equally irrational. And the treatment is pretty much so. I think there are some variations in terms of working on different kinds of OCD. You know, some specialist things that, you know, are helpful to know. But essentially, it's the same illness, and it's just different variations of it. And it's important not to get bogged down in the theme, because you are bogged down in the theme. That's the nature of the illness. So what have we got? Real event OCD. Holidays, love, sex, milestones, doom and despair, relationship OCD. She talks a lot about relationship OCD and gender identity OCD. She's very easy to listen to, very entertaining, very good presenter, very kind of real, very personable. What if I snap and act on my intrusive thoughts? Is it a compulsion, or did I act on the thoughts? She busts a lot of myths about OCD, and takes away a lot of the guilt and the shame as well, I think. So she's got about 300, just under 300 videos. So let's have a quick look at what the playlists are. So check this out. I mean, I think, you know, I'd say if you have retroactive jealousy, you want to be watching at least one video a day, not necessarily on retroactive jealousy, not necessarily on OCD, but on some aspects of you know, improve self-healing, self-improvement, you know, becoming more comfortable in your own skin, becoming more confident, becoming less what's the word, self-critical, less self-blaming, all kinds of things, you know. But I think I would definitely recommend being on a path of personal improvement, personal growth, and that's the other difference between when you break your leg and somebody fixes it for you, your leg kind of goes back to normal. When you have a mental illness, I don't really like the term mental illness, but when you have a psychological problem, a condition like retroactive jealousy, and you recover from it, you don't just recover from it. The process of recovery from it requires lots of self-awareness and lots of using sort of techniques, different ways of looking at the world, different ways of looking at yourself, different ways of thinking, different ways of processing your thoughts and your feelings. So you actually come out of it a better person. When I say a better person, that's not kind of some kind of, you know, external judgment. You're happier, you're more comfortable in your own skin, your thinking processes are clearer. There's a whole bunch of benefits that come out of recovery from this kind of thing. Some people say that, you know, recovery from and this is said a lot in addiction and alcoholism and things like that, that recovery is just the stopping the addiction. I know retroactive jealousy is not an addiction, but I'm kind of just borrowing something that fits just as well. Stopping the problem, or curing the remove. So in the case of retroactive jealousy, no longer having the thoughts and the compulsions to find out more, is the wrapping paper. But there's actually, you know, it's not the gift itself. The gift itself is within the wrapping paper. It's not my analogy. It's one I borrowed from somewhere else, which is probably why I'm recounting it in such a clumsy way. So 2 playlists. So she's divided. So most of her videos aren't on the playlist, are they? She's got kind of 300 odd. So most of them are kind of just freestanding videos. And then there's 2 playlists of things that she's grouped together. So it's always helpful though on a channel to look at the playlists, isn't it? It gives you a flavour. Let's have a look at channel description, and then we'll say farewell because my battery's going. I don't want to cut out on you. I talk mainly about obsessive compulsive disorder, particularly the nicknamed community called Pure OCD, which consists of disturbing, intrusive thoughts accompanied by mental rituals. So I think why she's calling it a nickname there is because it's not something that's talked about by the medical, the psychiatric or psychological establishment. It's not like a formal diagnosis or something that's, you know, part of the orthodox kind of psychology perspective. I'm a certified peer support specialist through the state of Colorado, and I work with individuals worldwide to help connect them to therapists who can properly treat OCD and also provide peer support, which helps normalize the symptoms of OCD and the emotional turmoil it causes. For more information, there you go. So there's more information. So if you want to contact her directly, there's all her information there. It's got 19.5 thousand subscribers, which is good. It's a lot more subscribers than I've got, but she deserves a whole lot more. You know, this channel should be more successful than it is, and more predominant than it is. So they connect people with therapists. So I haven't actually approached her to see how I can kind of link up with that, because I'd be quite happy to be part of her network and provide therapy for people that come through that pathway of contacting Chrissie, particularly when it relates to retroactive jealousy. And POCD is one of my specialisms as well. I don't talk about that as much. There is a video on it on the channel on POCD. POCD is a horrible condition, which more and more people are aware of now. It's becoming more widely known. It's more well known than retroactive jealousy. So there you go. So yes. So for your recovery, you know, you need to be doing something every day. Watch a video on recovery from retroactive jealousy, a good one, every day. And if it's not about recovery from retroactive jealousy, then one that's on more broadly about OCD, because you'll learn a lot of useful things from that, or personal growth, becoming more confident, becoming the kind of person you want to be. There we go. I hope that's helpful. If you do, contact Chrissie or visit the channel, say that we sent you. It's always nice to do. Thank you for watching the video. If you're able to share this or give it a like, or give us a nice comment or anything like that, it makes YouTube show it to more people, and if YouTube show it to more people, it will help more people, so you can do something good, a good deed for the day, and a nice easy one as well. It's good to help people, isn't it? It's makes us feel good, and it's just, you know, worthwhile in itself, especially as something so horrible as retroactive jealousy, where people suffer so much and the partners suffer so much. So thank you for watching. I'll be back in the next one. Arangi Malie.